name is Sahar Jamal, and I'm the CEO and founder of Maziwa Breastfeeding. Our mission is to alleviate the impossible trade-off between staying at home to breastfeed and returning to work to support your family financially. This organization was co-founded and co-created with hundreds and hundreds of African mothers, understanding their challenges in balancing work and breastfeeding. We have developed the Wema Breast Pump that can be used in any workplace and any environment to make life a little bit easier for working moms. The Wema Breast Pump was created based on the needs of hundreds of Kenyan mothers that I spoke with while working at Jacaranda Health, just outside Nairobi in 2018. And what we heard was that many women are either giving up on working in order to stay home to breastfeed or giving up on breastfeeding in order to go back to work. And this leads to impact on their economic development, their empowerment in their career, as well as a lot of detrimental maternal and infant health challenges, including a 14 times higher likelihood of infant death as a result of suboptimal breastfeeding. We thought that it was unfair that women are faced with this impossible trade-off, and that we should be supporting and celebrating working moms rather than penalizing them and marginalizing them in the workplace. So we wanted to empower them with a product that works for their needs, can be used in any environment, so that their daily routine is a little bit easier and they're able to express breast milk. One of my favorite examples of a working mother was named Isabel. She was a patient of Jacaranda Health, and I met her during my experience there. And she was a construction site manager. So she worked in a construction zone. Her site would change every 2 weeks. She obviously wouldn't have a very hygienic outhouse or latrine to use to pump milk. She didn't have access to electrical sockets or any way to charge an electrical device. And of course, many of her colleagues were male, and they would often make fun of her actually and make jokes about her breasts at the workplace. And so hearing her story really made me feel like this is a really unfair situation for a mother. With her first baby, she actually gave up on exclusive breastfeeding in the first 6 months, and she ended up resorting to substitutes because she had no other option. She actually tried one of the early prototypes of the Wema Breast Pump, and she was able to continue expressing breast milk at the workplace while painting a house around her colleagues without them noticing. They didn't really hear anything or see anything. She was able to neatly store it in her cooler and bring it home for her baby, and her second baby was exclusively breastfed.
Hi, my name is Josie Monene, and I am a certified lactation educator and the Director of Community Engagement at Maziwa Breastfeeding. I think the most significant challenge is where mothers can be able to pump given the utilities available to them, especially electricity, because most traditional pumps ask for a mother to be able to connect, plug into a wall socket because it's not portable. So the fact that this is portable and this is rechargeable means that a mother can wear it. So again, it's discreet, but most importantly, she doesn't have to be seated next to a power outlet in order to use the pump. So that means that even if she's at home, she can always continue with her chores as she's pumping. But most importantly, if she's in an office and there's no designated space for her to express milk, then it means that she can find a quiet and private space, whether it's at a corner or anything like that, and she can be able to actually express milk very discreetly because she's wearing the collection cups, compared to the other traditional ones where you have to have a special bra, the bottles protrude outside, which means you have to be exposed, your chest has to be exposed. So in this case, you can sit in a corner, it's very quiet, the motor is also very quiet, and a mother can express very easily at the office. She doesn't have to do it at the desk if she doesn't want to, but neither does she have to do it in the toilet, which is the most important thing. So that is I feel the biggest challenge that the Wema is helping mothers to overcome is the idea of they don't have to be seated next to a power source. And most importantly, they don't have to expose themselves in order to express milk. The Wema pump comes with 2 collection cups, 2 sets of tubings. The tubings is a double tubing, and the other tubing is a single tubing, which allows you to use only one of the cups. That's a single tubing. And then you have the motor, which is what runs the pump. And then you have the charger, which connects to the motor and helps to charge it. In order to use the pump, you need to be able to correctly assemble the collection cup and the flange. So you need to make sure that the most important components are well connected. Therefore, here we have the body of the connector. So that's the body of the connector. And then here we have the valve, which is very important because this is what helps with the suction. And then here we have what is known as the backflow unit. This is what stops milk from going into the tubes once you start pumping. So the most important thing is to make sure that you start by connecting the membrane. So this is the membrane for the backflow unit. And then attach it in a way where you hear 2 clicks. So 1 click on one side and the other click on the other side. That is to ensure that there's no air going through the backflow unit. If you find that there's air going through the backflow unit, then you're not going to get the suction that you're looking for. Then you connect the valve, which is sometimes called a duckbill valve because it looks like a duck's bill. I don't know if you can, so it looks like a duck's bill. So you make sure that you connect that. And then once you've got that body connected, you're now ready to put back the flange and the collection cup. So your flange is the one that goes against your breast, and the collection cup is the one that the milk flows into once you start pumping. So you need to make sure that even when you're connecting your flange, that it aligns perfectly with the body. Sorry, there's also this that is for fitting the breast. But there you connect the flange, so you make sure that you've connected it, and there's a slit in the flange that allows you to connect it to that part, the bigger part of the pump, of the flange, and then you add the collection cup. And then you make sure that it aligns. There's a hole at the top of the backflow unit, and you need to make sure that that hole aligns with the cup. And I'll show you why just now. So you make sure that you secure the cup onto the flange. So you have your flange, your cup, and inside you have everything that helps with the suction. So once you've done that, the reason why it's important to have those 2 holes aligned is because that's how you then connect your tubing. So you connect your tubing at the top one bit. So as you can see where it splits, so one side of the tubing goes to one top of the cup, and the other side of the tubing goes into the second cup. So what you have there is that you've connected your 2 cups to the tubing, and then the other end of the tube, which is a single tube, is then connected to the motor. So you make sure that you connect that to the motor, and you're ready to go. And it's as simple as that when it comes to making sure that everything has been well assembled and connected. Thereafter, all you need to do is you switch on your motor. So now it's on standby mode. When you first switch it on, it's on standby mode. And then you make sure that you press the function button, which is the button at the bottom. And that function button also allows you to choose all the different modes. So that's one mode, a different mode. So there are 5 different modes that you can change using that function button. And once you settle on a mode, you can then decide whether or not you want to increase the suction level. But you have to make sure that you're comfortable. So I wouldn't advise you starting with the highest. I'd advise you maybe starting from about 3, 4. And then once you wear your pump, so then you wear it, rather, you wear the cups. So you then place them inside your top, inside your bra, making sure that the tubes are coming out from the top. So the tubes have to come out from the top of your bra, so to speak. and come out. If you're wearing a top, in addition to the bra, you have to make sure that the tubes come out from the top of your blouse or your t-shirt or whatever you're wearing. And then you must also make sure that they are very, very tightly placed against your breast so that there's no room for any air. Otherwise, you will not get the suction that you need in order to pump the milk out. So it's very, very important that whatever bra you're wearing, you can wear an ordinary bra, or you can wear an ordinary bra, or you can wear a sports bra, but you just need to make sure that it's tight enough to be able to secure your cup, your collection cup, and the flange securely against the breast so that there's no space, so that it creates a good enough vacuum to be able to suction the milk without any air. Any air means that you're going to have more trouble creating that vacuum, and therefore you might not remove as much milk as possible. And then once you've collected milk up to halfway to the collection cup, so there's measures on the side of the cup that goes all the way from 30 ml, which is 1 ounce, all the way to 120. And once you get to the 120, that is now full. It's full, so you shouldn't collect any more than that. You empty it out, so then you disconnect it and you can open it, and then you pour it out into your storage bag or your storage bottle. And then if you need to pump any more, then you can always just put it back, put the cup back to the, connect it back to the flange, and then you continue with your pumping session. And then you can collect more from that particular breast if you want. But always remember to make sure that you don't allow the milk to go back past the 120, because then there's a likelihood that it might go and then enter the backflow unit, which means then you compromise the tubing. So it's very important to make sure that you don't overfill the cup, so to speak, so that then you don't have the issue of backflow into the tubing. And that is how you use the Wema pump. Okay, so the most important thing to remember is, because this is an electric motor, so this is not going to go anywhere near water, and it does not come into contact with milk. So this does not need to be sterilized. The same actually goes for the tubes, because again, if you remember how it's all connected, the tubes are on the outside. So remember, the milk is being collected here. So anything basically on the outside of this collection cup does not need to be sterilized. So the tubes do not need to be sterilized prior to use. And that goes for both of them, the single tube and the double tube. So you're left with this component here. And therefore, everything here does need to be sterilized. And you sterilize everything here, especially the first time, is by boiling all these parts in rolling boiling water. So bring the water to boil, and then you make sure that the parts continue to boil in that water for 6 to 10 minutes. So that's that initial sterilization. So it's all these parts that you see me holding. So that's the backflow unit, that's the body of the connector. So that's the main connector and the flange. And if a mom is using the insert in order to maybe, her nipple size is a bit smaller, so she needs the insert, this also needs to be sterilized. And of course the cup, because that's the one that also comes into contact with the milk. Now, she doesn't need to sterilize all these parts after every single pumping session. She can rinse in warm water, make sure warm soapy water, and then make sure that she rinses it very well. And then she can use it again for her next session. It is advisable, however, for her to boil again within 24 hours, just to make sure that any residue of milk that was left maybe in between the pumping sessions can then be at least removed in that boiling. In terms of storing any clean vessel, so whether it's one of these Tupperware, like the lock and lock ones, those are quite good. So again, you're trying not to expose them to anything that might cause contamination. So once a mom has sterilized all the different parts, ideally allow them to air dry. Why air dry? Because sometimes the cloths that we use to wipe them down could also be contaminated. I guess kitchen paper towels can also be okay, but again, if possible, wash them and then put them on a rack, air dry them, and then put them in a closed and airtight container. And then now put that container in whatever bag she's going to transport, she's going to move the pump parts around in.
Hello, my name is John Domba. I'm the sales manager for Wema Breast Pump with Maziwa Breastfeeding Limited. We've got pharmacies on board which are selling our breast pump. We have clinics that we are working with to distribute the product. We are also selling through baby shops. We are in some of the biggest baby shops in the country. We've got a flood of e-commerce sites that recommend the product to their clients. And we also sell through our website for B2C and through different social media platforms.
I think anybody who is able to support and wants to support breastfeeding, and that includes all the key actors. So even employers, the health level as well, because if you have employers who are able to give their employees access to something like this, again, because of the fact that it is so portable, it means that an employer can actually, all they need to do is perhaps purchase this for their office, regardless of the size of the office. So they can say, maybe we'll have one for each department or one floor, and then have their mothers purchase this, because now this is the one that is single user. So this can only be used by each single mother. So if an employer is able to do something like that, already they're encouraging a mother to come back to work, to continue expressing, so that she can meet her goals of exclusively breastfeeding. Because in Kenya, we have 90 days of maternity leave, which means you're still left with an additional about 90 days for you to complete your exclusively breastfeeding journey. And then, of course, when it comes to, again, the medical profession, them being able to recommend a pump like this, instead of telling them, oh, at 4 months, you can just start on cow's milk or whatever it is. Again, just them being able to say, actually, there is a pump that can help you. You don't have to just, if expression is not something that you're familiar with, use this pump and you'll get the support that you need to be able to use the pump. So yes, definitely outside of mothers themselves, there are a lot of other key actors who can support the use of the pump.
We're really excited to grow this organization beyond Kenya and South Africa. We have seen great success in Kenya, and this is where our origins are, but we believe that there's immense opportunity across the continent and across the globe for working mothers in emerging markets to use our product, to benefit from our services, and to really alleviate the trade-off that many, many mothers are facing every single day. We believe that this could have ripple effects on female economic empowerment, the growth of emerging markets and their economies, as well as amazing impacts on maternal and newborn health, reducing the number of infants who die as a result of suboptimal breastfeeding, reducing stunting, diarrhea, malnutrition, breast cancer, ovarian cancer, all the challenging issues that are a result of suboptimal breastfeeding. Not only are we preventing these challenges, but we're also improving brain development and cognitive development in our children, the future generations of our world. So we really believe that not only is this an important product for mothers and something that can make a difference on a daily basis, but one that has lasting effects on our society going forward. There are a lot of accessories that we would look at launching for the Wema Breast Pump, including a carrying bag, a battery-operated cooler, definitely more consumables like bulk storage bags and additional parts that can make it a little bit easier for the mother to use the product. For example, various sizes of inserts. We already have one insert that is a little bit smaller for women who have smaller nipple sizes, so that makes it a lot more comfortable for them to pump. So we're gathering feedback as we go and learning more about what our moms are looking for, and we have a few different products in the pipeline that we're excited to launch. One in particular would be the battery operated cooler. Many women don't have access to a freezer or a fridge. And so if we are able to create a cooler that can last throughout the day after being charged overnight, then that would really make it simpler for moms to use it. And we're actually partnering with an organization that has created a solar cooler for vaccines and for agriculture, who is working with us to develop this smaller size breast milk cooler. So there's a lot more to come from Maziwa, and I hope you can stay tuned and keep in touch. So for retail buyers and distributors across the globe, we're available for sale on viaglobalhealth.com, and anyone across the world can purchase our product and work with us on their launch plans. We're happy to help you through that process and share our material so that you can make that process a lot easier and you can help your communities and the moms in your country. And you can also follow us on our socials, which is at Maziwa Breastfeeding on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, as well as go on our website, maziwabreastfeeding.com, in order to learn more about the product or to contact